Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. It is February the 18th. It's Sunday afternoon, and Coco and I are waiting on my hubby to get home this afternoon. He's only a couple of hours, maybe 2.5, out away from our home. He's on his way. So while we're waiting on him to get home, I decided to stitch on my bingo prompt today. It was a little bit later getting started stitching today because I've been working on a video to upload as soon as I can. So I've got it saving now, and while it's processing, I decided I'd come on up here and stitch. Well, the call for today was number 11 on my bingo board, and that was New Start for my Coastal Holiday Ornament. And I just finished editing my last video, so in that video I mentioned that I needed to stitch a prompt for my smallest whip, and I didn't have a small whip. It would have been very hard for me to figure out which one of my whips was the smallest because they're all medium or large. So I went ahead and started the second coastal ornament out of the group of 3 that I want to do for my friend Sandy as a gift. And so I'll remind you, I started this one. I've already stitched this one, and I started this one that says Joy. And I showed you this little tiny start of 1 leaf in the last video. And I stitched on it for a prompt, and I didn't remember to share with you where I got to. So I will, if I can find a picture of it, insert it here as to where I got to on that first prompt that I stitched for, because that'll be my starting point for where I started today. So that's what I picked up and decided to keep going from there this morning when it was called on my bingo board and I needed to do 100 stitches. And I just started stitching away. And I had great fun with it, and it's been an easy stitch, and I was watching a whip parade, and before I knew it, I thought, I need to count. I've been stitching a while. And I had stitched 274 stitches. Oh well. That's just closer to finishing this thing, so that's fine. But here's where I got to. I think it's really, really cute. It's got this cute little vine that runs all throughout. These fish are swimming through the vine in the water. And so I've got 2 fish. I'm stitching the one color in all 3 first. I'm doing some color completion. And then I'll have the stripes. They're in a different color. They're actually in a beautiful aqua blue. And so I'll finish the fish, and then I'll finish the stripes so that they all match. And then what I have left really is to outline the cloche with the little handle or topper, and then the banner, which is, a lot of stitching at the bottom because it's all filled in. But that is great retreat stitching. That's great Saturday meetup stitching. And so this is not on any kind of deadline. I don't have to get it finished right away. So I'm going to stop where I'm at today. I think 274 stitches is good. And I'm going to take a picture of it and post it in my bingo game. And then I will be able to look and see what else I want to stitch on. I have a couple of things hanging. One is my spring Quaker. I want to use it for one of my prompts. It's the last prompt in my Oat Mulgy Mounds challenge. And then I have one acrostic with 1 letter, but as I have mentioned before, that is going to be my Nativity, and it's on my board to be called. So when it's called is when I'll do that one. So there's no hurry there either. So I think I'm going to be at a position where I can just pick up whatever I want and just stitch on it. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is that I have been very honored and privileged to be invited to go to a lake cabin with a fellow stitcher. It's her family's cabin, and she has invited 4 of us ladies to go. And we are going to take things to fully finish. We are bringing our finishing materials and trims, fabrics, everything. One of the ladies is coming straight from a quilting retreat, and she's going to have her sewing machine with her. And so we're going to help each other maybe finish a few things over the course of a day or so. We're going to stitch. We're going to a stitching meetup while we're there at the mountain cabin, or the lake cabin rather. And I am beyond excited. I cannot tell you how excited I am. We had a Zoom call the other night to talk about who's bringing what food and things. We're each kind of doing a meal. And I was so excited after that Zoom call. I woke up at 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Just, I would wake up and I wasn't anxious or, frightened or anything. I was just awake. And it took me a little bit to figure out it was because I was excited, and I think in my head I was still planning and thinking about what to take. So I do have to do some planning in the next couple of days as to what stitching I want to take with me. I have already gone through my bin of shame. I've already collected up an entire pile of things to take with me because I don't know exactly which ones I might get to finish. And I want to have variety there to choose from depending on what I've got. I have gone through my scraps of fabric, and I've put fabric with everything that I'm taking so that I could potentially finish it all, but I won't have time to finish it all. So I'm hoping it puts me in the mood to do some finishing because I need to do some finishing. I had way too many things in that box that haven't been fully finished. So that is exciting. I'm happy about that. So I won't wax on about it any longer, but I hope to have some fully finished objects and some stitching to share with you and some wonderful stories to share when I get back. And that's less than a week away, so I'm pretty excited. In fact, we will leave Thursday, this coming Thursday, and we'll be back a week from today. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to put my stitching away on this project and decide what I'm going to work on next. And whatever I choose, I'll come back and share with you later. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Dina. It is February 19th, and I have several goals that I want to hit today if I can. So the first one this morning was to get my bingo call done. And today my call was Whip of Choice, which left it wide open for me, which was wonderful. So yesterday I had started working on my spring Quaker to hit a prompt in one of my challenges. And it was to stitch on something that had the most motifs in it. This one certainly hit that. And so I had started this motif right here. I even had to scroll up in order to get it, but I wanted to get that whole motif in because it's the bottom of the page right there. So I started it and I stitched enough stitches to meet the prompt, more than enough, but I didn't finish the motif. It was a big motif. So I had it still on my floor stand today. So when I came in and I looked again at my call for today and it was Whip of Choice, I thought, I only have to do 100 stitches and it can be anything I want, and I want to finish this motif. So I did. It did take 149 stitches to finish it, but I finished it. I think it's beautiful. The colors are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So that is now finished, and what I'll do next time I work on it is roll it back up and go across here to the next motif at the top of the page and come on down and maybe get a page finish before I move on across any further. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, there is my bingo completion. I finished my motif I wanted to work on. So I think that's beautiful. It's looking great on that beautiful sage green piece of fabric. I just love it. I think it's so pretty. So I'm going to put this one away now because I mentioned when I first said hello that I had several goals I wanted to hit today. I have my final prompt, my final letter in the Daily 30 monthly challenge I have to hit. And it's not a letter, it's a number 9. And I knew I was going to have a hard time with that, so I put my coupon in there just to hold the place, and which gives me 200 free stitches. And then I can stitch 100 stitches in something that's related to a 9, and I will complete that acrostic. Originally, when I stuck my coupon in there, I think I forgot I had to stitch 100 stitches, because in the other coupon that we get, it's a freebie. You don't have to stitch anything. And it just slipped my mind for a moment. But it did come back to me. Sharon Worm sent me a comment saying, don't forget to stitch your 100 stitches. It's not a freebie. You got time to finish it. And thank you, Sharon. So I have picked Hawk Run Hollow for that because I have to have something related to the number 9. Well, the block that I'm on has rabbits all across the bottom of it. There are 9 rabbits. And so today I'm going to stitch on the rabbits that are left to be stitched. And so that'll be in relation to the 9. But I only have to do 100 stitches. And that's all I'm going to do, or closest to it, like maybe finish a thread or something, because that will finish that monthly challenge, and that leaves it open for me to move on to my snow and mountains. I have a section of my snow and mountains that I want to do every month so that I can stay on track to finish it by the end of the year. And I have not finished my February section yet. I've stitched on it twice. But there's a lot of stitching in this thing, and so I haven't finished it. Well, I have the rest of the day. Now, once I finish my Hawk Run Hollow 100 stitches, I'll have the rest of my stitching time today to put toward finishing that section. And hopefully I could do that before the evening is over. So that is my plan. And that way I will, have met all of my goals that I set for myself today. Anyway, I got a reprieve this morning from having to go out in the cold. My husband went to the men's Bible study at church, and Coco was ready to go for her walk. She came over and would not leave me alone. She would not be patient and wait. She got in my face, in my lap, came up under my stitching, bopped it out of the way. It was like, it's time to walk. And so I said, okay, let's go. I didn't want to go because it's really cold this morning. But she was patient enough. She had waited until it had gotten up to about 47 degrees. And I said, well, at least it's above freezing. I'll take you now. So we headed down the stairs here from my stitching room, which runs right down into the back door. That's why you hear them come in sometime. And just as we got to the bottom of the stairs, Coco barked and ran to the door and jumped up on it and looked out because my husband was just coming in the back door. I hadn't even heard the garage door open. It was, I guess, just I was listening to Floss Tube and I wasn't paying attention, and I was talking to Coco, and so I didn't even know he was there. But oh my goodness, it was great. So he came in, he started petting her and loving on her and said, let's go for a walk, let's go for a walk. And I was like, thank you so much. I didn't have to get out in the cold. That was so nice of him to do that. So instead, I got to come back up here and finish stitching on my prompt. So I have finished it before we even eat lunch, which is great. So now I am going to take a break, and when my husband gets back from walking Coco, I think we will go ahead and have lunch, and I have a couple of errands to run, and then I'll get back in and I'll be situated for the day, and then I can just continue stitching. I'm excited. So thanks for letting me share all that with you, and I think what I may do today, is just get all my stitching done and then come back to see you this evening after I've done everything I'm going to do. And that way I'll record just one more time instead of, 2 and 3 and 4 times. It's interesting because I used to stitch on about one thing a day, and I would record that once a day and put everything away. But doing a bingo game where you only do 100 stitches, I generally now am winding up stitching on at least 2 things a day and sometimes 3, just depending. So I appreciate you letting me just pop in and out. That makes it nice. It makes it easier. Then I can clean everything away, put it up as soon as I'm done with it, and it keeps my work area a lot neater. So thanks for that. I hope you're having a great start to your week. It's Monday, and it's the beginning of a week, and this is the week that I will be heading out of town. That's one of the reasons I got a couple of errands I need to do today. So I need to get things purchased and food cooked and things like that. So looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. And I can't wait to tell you all about it. They're back. So I'm going to head out for lunch now. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. It's later on February the 19th, and I've got the rest of my stitching to share with you today. I'm doing this square right here, and you'll see this looks blue, but it's meant to be grass, and there are rabbits on both sides of that tree. And if you only count the rabbits in the grass that are in the blue part, there are 9. Now there are 2 additional rabbits not in the grass, but I'm counting the ones in the grass to equate to the number 9. So today I stitched 149 stitches, no, more than that, 196 stitches to complete what I think is the mama rabbit, because these others look small. And the rest of the rabbits that will be on this side of the tree are small, except for that one. And that one is noticeably bigger. So I think that might be the mama. That's what I'm thinking anyway. But I did that rabbit today, and I posted it in my Daily 30 group. And so now I have officially finished that acrostic. January 29th. Was that acrostic. So that was my second goal that I met today. The first one was my bingo goal. That was the second goal, to finish that acrostic. So the next thing I had decided I wanted to do when I was doing my planning last night for today's stitching is that I really, really wanted to work on my Snow and Mountains, or Neige at Montagne, however you say that, because, I've divided it into 12 equal parts this year, and I'm trying to finish it by the end of the year by stitching 1 section a month. And I had stitched on it previously, and I had gotten a large number of stitches put in it, but it hadn't finished that section. So tonight I thought, well, I'm just going to work on it and see how far I can get. I had Zoom tonight with some friends, some stitching friends, so I knew I could stitch on it as late as I needed. And I started working on it. Well, this section on the Neige at Montagne has an unusual page break with it. Pardon the zipper, I just wanted to show you this pattern. This is the one I'm talking about. That's what I'm working on. And I'm in this section right here. And I did the first half of the month in first half of the block in the month of January. And so this was the section I was to do here. But my break that I divided to try to get the sections fairly equal actually comes right across here. But when I was working on this block, I went on down and did the stitching to end that window just because I had it on my thread on my needle and I wanted to finish it up, and I just didn't want to leave it that way, so I finished that one. So then when I got here, I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go in this corner, and I started stitching some of the colors down in here, thinking I will do this and work my way up. And then I decided it was very difficult because the pattern page break is right here and right here. So there's a pattern that has part of that corner in it. There's a pattern that has part of that corner in it. And then there's the pattern that has this in it. So I had three pages rather, of the pattern that I was having to look at and try to match up. And this pattern does not have any grayed out rows to show you what was on the previous page. So you really have to butt it right up against and count and look and make sure you're stitching correctly. It was slowing me down. It was taking a lot of time today. I was not making good progress. And so I thought, okay, this is going to discourage me, and I'm going to put this away, and I'm never going to finish this section if I'm not careful. So what I did instead is I decided that I would stitch to the bottom of the page of the pattern. I would just let that be the break because it's three separate pages I'm trying to put together. And that's just too difficult. So I made that adjustment in my section, and I was able to finish my section tonight. So here's where it is now. Here are the first berries that'll be in that pine cone area in the middle. And they were in the section that originally was, you know, this was on one page, this was on another page, and all this was on yet a third page. So when I decided that I wasn't going to try to do that anymore, I quit stitching about right here. That's where the page break is, as you can see, right there. There's my page break. On a few of them, I went ahead and dipped below because like this finished snowflake. And I had white on my needle right here, and I just ran it out until it finished. So I did do that, but I will have to pick this up differently going forward. So what I will do when I do the sections down here, whenever I pick up the page to do this part of the section that's on that page, I'll just make sure I pick that up with that section. Because it'll just be part way across, and then the next section I pick up, it'll be part way across. So, but I'm not going to fight with the page breaks and try to deal with three of them at one time. It was just too confusing. So anyway, I consider that now my February section complete, and so I'm happy about that. So the next month in March, I will come over here and I will work in this section, and I don't remember if I'm doing just half or the whole section. I don't have it right in front of me to look, so, but it will be in that area that I'll get started. So there you go. So we were still chatting a little bit tonight as when I finished working on that, and so I needed something easy that I could just pick up and work on, and I had decided I was going to take this one with me to the lake this weekend, and I still will because I'm not going to finish it tonight. I'm just stitching on it. I was stitching on it a few minutes while we ended our phone call. In fact, my needle is still in it, but this is the second ornament in the Coastal Holiday. And I'm doing the little shelf now that it's sitting on down here. And all I have left to do, I've got some specialty stitches, the Smyrna crosses. There's some Smyrna crosses in here I need to do. I'll need to do the straight stitching for the cloche itself with the little knob on the top. This is the tray that it's sitting on, and then underneath that is the banner. You can see the banner from the previous one down below. So there's a lot of stitching left to do. So I'm still going to take it with me this weekend and maybe put some stitches in it while we're at the lake cabin. But this was just something quick I could pick up and work on while we were chatting tonight. So I just show it with you because it's actually 115 stitches. So that's as much as I do sometimes for my bingo. And you see that. So I figured I'd go ahead and share it with you. Snow and Mountains. The one I finished my section tonight, 628 stitches. That was a lot of stitching. Doesn't look like there's that many stitches in there, does it? But there are. There's snow everywhere. It's just that white snow is everywhere. So I'm looking forward to finishing March's section over here and getting this done, because this down here is where all the fun happens. That is where the beautiful colors are. That's where the bulk of the piece resides. And so I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I think that is all of my stitching for today. Appreciate you letting me come and share that with you. And I had a good day. Had a very good day. I enjoyed setting my goals. It kept me focused today. And it really helped me to pick up my Snow and Mountains this afternoon. I had thought about stitching on that before. I think I even mentioned it in my last video that I might pick it up and work on it, and I didn't. And so today it was my third goal, and I didn't want to do anything else until I met that. So I'm happy that it worked out. So hope you have a good evening. Gonna hit the hay here. Got an early call tomorrow with my sister Stephanie, and I hope to get to talk. I had hoped to talk to my friend Glow tomorrow, but she's got to work, and so I will miss talking with her this week because I'll be out of town on our usual day. But we'll catch up next week, so that'll be good. I will encourage you to enjoy your stitching. I hope you get lots of stitching time this week. And until we talk again, stay well. Happy stitching, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. This is Dana, and today I want to share with you a finish. This is a small finish. I started this Coastal Holiday Ornament Joy on the 16th of February. It's this middle one. And as you know, I am doing this series in the box for a friend for a gift. So I had done this one already, and this is the one I did today. Trying to get it all on the same fabric if I can. So this is my Joy. I think it's really, really super neat. It stitched up pretty quick, and I will tell you too, one of the hints that Kathy Hopperman put in here was on the page with the pattern. She mentioned that she stitched the vine, or her, I don't know whether she stitched it or her model stitcher did, but that they stitched the vine first all the way around and then the leaves, and that helped with the placement of everything. And I did that, and it did make it go, I thought, pretty quickly, which is great. I love it. The fish look like they are swimming around in there, and I think that's going to be really, really cute. So that's the second one of the three of the ornaments that I have finished. So I'm going to put this away now. I had this on my bingo board. I actually had the first ornament on there, and I finished it. So by the time this one was called, I had started the second one, and I could work on it. So that worked out really, really well. Now today's call on my bingo board is for my Stitcher's Days of Christmas, and I haven't done that yet because, you know me, I got to the point yesterday where I saw I could finish this today, and I just decided to come on in here and finish it first. So now I'm going to grab my Stitcher's 12 Days, put my 100 stitches in it for my bingo, and I hope to be able to come back and share some more stitching with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello everybody, welcome back. It is later on the 20th of February, and I am here to share with you my stitching for this afternoon. I did get to work on my bingo call, which was the Stitcher's 12 Days of Christmas, or Stitcher's Days of Christmas. I keep putting the 12 in there. And this is by Sue Hillis. It's a delightful design. I am stitching mine long the way that she has it here. And today I had to put in 100 stitches, and I was able to get 178 in today. I'll first show you what I worked on, and then I'll show you the whole thing. I'm in the section now of the chatelaine. It's 6 chatelaines. So the last time you saw it, I had done this gold chain here, but I didn't have the heart or the chain around here. So I did that today, back stitched it and all, 178 stitches. So that was what I needed for the prompt, and that's all I worked on this afternoon because I had some errands I had to run. So here's how it's looking. This is on the 12 Days of Christmas. My true love gave to me, and then it goes through all the sewing motifs. I'm not sure I can get the whole thing. If I back up a lot, maybe I can, but then you can't see it very well. Anyway, I think the chatelaine is looking great. It's been the first motif that it's taken me more than a couple of stitching sessions to do it, but I think it's because each little thing is sort of like a mini finish, and it gives me enough stitches, you know, so I just go ahead and do that and move on. But I am enjoying this quite a bit. I had thought about taking this one with me over the weekend. However, since I just worked on it, I probably won't. But we shall see. You never know. I have changed my mind 2 or 3 times about what I was going to take with me. Anyway, so that's where we are on that one. The call for tomorrow is number 9, and on my board, number 9 is Autumn in the Village. So I will get that out, and I'm kind of glad that they called it before I got out of town, because it is far too big to take with me. Far too big. So I'll get to work on it before I go. So now it is getting a little bit later in the evening, and I need to continue packing my stitching for my trip. And so I'm gonna let you get on with your stitching or watching your next floss tuber. But I hope you have a great, great week ahead of you. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Dina, and it is the 21st of February. It is Wednesday evening, and I have had a great day today. I was able to get quite a bit of stitching done, and I have been packing, getting ready to go out of town for a weekend at a lake, Lake Hartwell in South Carolina with friends. We're going to have a stitching and finishing weekend. and I can't wait. We leave in the morning, and so I'm wanting to share with you what I was stitching on today, what goals I met today, I guess, and tell you a little bit about our trip, what we have planned. Anyway, my bingo call for today was Autumn in the Village, and I had to do 100 stitches in it. And so, as luck would have it, I was able to get 101 by finishing up a color. And so I actually started on the house on the other side. So I've almost finished this one, and now I'm trying to get this one started. And that way I can, once I get that part of the building done, I can stitch the trees and bushes up here that might touch the house so that I can backstitch it. So that's what I'm trying to do. So very little progress there. I'm just working this one for prompts right now. It's not a focus piece. So I just wanted to share that with you. Once I finished my bingo call for today, I didn't have any other prompts to work on. I have finished my challenge, and I had finished my acrostics except for my magazine monthly challenge acrostic. And as you know, I'm waiting for my Nativity to be called in bingo so that I can hit both of them at the same time. So I decided tonight, what do I want to stitch on? What am I not going to be able to take with me, but that I would really like to stitch on? And what I decided I really wanted to work on was my spring Quaker. You know, I got started on that quilt, and I had to stop having done part of the quilt. And so today I decided if I could, I wanted to finish the quilt. And I did. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's gorgeous. There's a pretty heart right in the middle, and it's just a lovely, lovely quilt pattern. So I have not backstitched this yet. It has a ton of backstitching. The whole quilt is backstitched. The barn is backstitched. There's a lot of backstitching that needs to be done. And I think that would be for a later date. And in fact, I will probably have to roll this down just a little bit. Let me do that so I can show it to you. There we go. I had to roll it back down so that I can get all of the backstitching done in that center block. But I do think it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This represents 828 stitches today, right there. So that was a huge accomplishment today. Really, really happy about that one. So I'm going to put it back over on my rack where I have all of my roller frames hanging up, and then I can finish packing for my trip tomorrow. So I mentioned we're going to have a stitching and finishing weekend. I am taking stitching. We are going to be able to stitch a couple of times, not only at the cabin at the lake, but we're going to stitch at a cross-stitch store as well. And we are going to try to do some finishing. And I had collected up a huge amount of projects that I wanted to make into flat folds and pillows and things of that nature. And then I realized if I did that much finishing over the time that we're going to be gone, I won't get any stitching done. It'll be all finishing. So I don't really want to do that. I didn't want to take quite that much. So I've pared it back a bit, and I'm going to take 3 or 4 things, but I'm not going to take as many as I had. Now what I will do is leave them out because I've paired them up with the fabrics and things already, and I could just start finishing one maybe once a week or so. Anyway, excited about that. So tomorrow morning, my friend Donna will be picking me up. And then we will be heading to South Carolina. I'm looking forward to the trip. I hope I have lots to share with you. But while I'm gone, my husband would like to go and test out his new tent. And he would like to go do some hiking. So today, we took Coco to her friend Fred's. Our dog sitter's puppy's name is Fred. And this afternoon, as we were getting ready to take her, my husband looked at Coco and he said, "Hey Coco, would you like to go to Fred's?" Well, she knows that word. She got so excited. She spun around. She ran to the back door. She was making noises at him to come on, come on. And she came running up to me, jumped up to tell me how excited she was, to let me know that, she was happy. And I said to her, "Are you excited to go to Fred's?" Started it all over again. Anyway, she definitely knows Fred's name. We cannot say that unless we are ready to walk out the door. So my husband got tickled because, as you know, she gets quite vocal when we get near Fred's house. It's as if she's calling out to him, "I'm here, Fred, I'm coming." So my husband set the camera up for me so that I could see her again. And she did her usual whining, carrying on as soon as they turned onto the street that you go to Fred's house on. And it's way out in the country, so the street is a little bit of a long one. And then when we turn into the driveway, it's a long driveway from the road up to their door. So that takes a little while too. But the closer she gets to Fred's, the louder she gets. My husband has to roll down the windows because it hurts his ears. Anyway, he captured it for me, so I'll put it at the end of this video. So if you haven't seen her behavior before when she's going to her friend Fred's house, you'll get to see it. So anyway, I think you'll enjoy it. And so I'm going to include that for you at the end. Well, I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to finish putting a few things into my stitching bag so it'll be ready for tomorrow. And otherwise, happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is February 25th, and I am here to give you a stitching update from this past weekend. I may have mentioned more than once that I was going to get to go to a weekend away with a few ladies. We had planned to do a stitching and finishing weekend. One of the ladies in the group had invited us to her family's home in South Carolina. It's a lake community, and we were going to stay in their lake house and stitch and do finishing and just have a wonderful time together. And I must say we did. It was so much fun. The first night I was there was Friday, and we got a new challenge on Friday, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it was the Pikas challenge, and this gave us several prompts to stitch for. And I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough projects there to actually meet the prompts, but as luck would have it, I did. And so I'm very excited to share those with you. But the first goal that I had set for myself for this stitching weekend was to finish Small Gift. And on Friday night, I did. Now, as it turned out, Small Gift met one of the prompts that I had to stitch for because it required you to stitch on a whip that depicted a mouth of some kind. And as we know, this lovely young lady has a mouth that shows in the picture. I did this on Aida, 14 count Aida, that was in my stash. The pattern called for black, and I thought this would be a good substitute for the night sky. And when you last saw it, I had stitched part of the tree up to about right here, and that's what I had left to do, that and the spattering of snowflakes all around. So Friday night I finished the tree. I back stitched it all. I did the back stitching on the gift itself, and that was the last bit of back stitching that I had to do. And then I finished the snowflakes. So this is a finish, and it is on my year of whips. It is my 5th finish out of 8 for my year of whips. So I am delighted that I am continuing on to get my year of whips done. Now on the pattern, this snow goes across in a square. I am not interested in doing that. I wanted something a little more, I guess artsy, I don't know, but just different. I didn't want all that white to just have this big blob of white on my dark blue fabric. So I did a little bit more just to show that she's standing there. It's like we're seeing her almost in an oval. I don't know if I can fit this in an oval frame. I don't know if I have enough room at the top, but I'm certainly going to look at it because I think it would be pretty in an oval. So you shall see what I can come up with. Anyway, this is my finish, and this happened Friday night, and I'm tickled to death that I got it done. So then the next thing I started stitching on at my stitching weekend retreat was a sampler for all seasons. One of the things that we got to do was go to a cross stitch store called Panda's Crossing, and we were able to stitch there with a group of ladies. They started at 1 and they stitched all the way to 8 o'clock at night. Now we didn't stay to 8 o'clock. We stayed around 6:30, 6:45 because we were going to dinner. But anyway, I worked on this while we were stitching there, and this is my sampler for all seasons. I felt like this would be a great one to take with me because I could work on this Vine and Flowers, which is a repetitive pattern, and it's on Ada, so that's easy, easy to see. It's on the Steinbeck is the color, and it's 16 count Ada, so it will be the equivalent size of what 32 count Lugana would be, but I just wanted this color, and it was darker on the Ada than it was on Lugana. And at the time I bought this, I bought it as a kit, and they didn't offer Lugana. They offered either linen or Ada, and the Ada color was so close to the linen, I got the Ada. Anyway, as you can tell, I did finish the Vine and Leaves, and I've got a good start on the flowers. So I actually wound up stitching 671 total stitches over part of Friday night and then Saturday. This is what I stitched on while we were at the, Friday while we were at the cross stitch store. This is what I stitched on. So there you have it. Very excited about it, and I think it's coming along beautifully. I really, really do. Can't wait to get back to it and finish that vine. But this also met a prompt because I had to stitch on a whip that had leaves or flowers, and I was actually stitching on both at the time, so that worked out really well. It was great fun at the stitching meetup. I had never been to Panda's Crossing. I got to meet the owner, Donna, and it was a lovely, lovely time. The ladies there were so friendly, and it was a big group. We must have had 30 people there by the end of the evening. And I got to meet a lady who's been watching my floss tube and commenting beautifully, just so regularly for me. And it was so much fun to meet her and talk with her for a few minutes. And then I met a fellow floss tuber, a brand new floss tuber. And I didn't ask permission to share either name, so I'm not going to do that. But I just want to, if you ladies are watching, you know who you are. And I just want to thank you for coming over and introducing yourself to me and spending a little time sharing some conversation. That was so much fun. So that was our stitching day. Then on Saturday, we did a lot of finishing. I've got lots of finishes to share with you. Right now, though, they are in my suitcase because I just got home a little bit ago and had supper with my husband, and now I just wanted to come tell you a little bit about the weekend before I even put any of the stuff away. So, I did have a lot of finishes, and I'm going to share those with you probably tomorrow because I don't want to go have to unpack my suitcase just to get them out. But I will share those with you in the morning. Um, but when I finished working on my finishes and decided I had done as many as I was going to do, I did all that I took with me except one. And I had found the perfect embellishment trim for this pillow that I wanted to put together, and at some point, I don't know how, it was misplaced and I could not ever find it again. It was not mine. It was I was borrowing it, or it was being given to me as, you can use this, anything out of this box. And so I found this perfect rickrack to go on my pillow. But when I got ready to finish it, I couldn't find it. I don't know where it fell or went to, or fell into someone's box or fell under a couch. We looked for 2 days, couldn't find it. So that's the only one I didn't fully finish because I didn't have all the parts I needed. I'm going to have to come back and regroup on that. But so when I finished doing all the finishes I wanted to do, I settled back and started stitching again. And I stitched the rest of the time, except when I was finishing other people's things. So I helped my friend Donna with a couple of finishes. I, would just do some lacing for her, or I'd put some chenille around a pillow or something like that. And then my friend Lisa also, I closed up one of her pillows that had been stuffed and ready to close because she was working on something else at the sewing machine, and we were kind of getting close on time at that point. We were going to have to start getting ready to go, and so I wanted to make sure she got 2 finishes out of it. And I do have a video of the finishes, and I will insert that tomorrow when I share them with you as well. But when I started stitching, I wanted something really small and easy to do. And so I knew that St. Patrick's Day is coming up in March, and I've got a couple of St. Patrick's Day projects I want to stitch. And one of them was May Luck Find You. I picked the smallest one first, and I had put this green fabric in my stash. This is actually a Joblin, and it's called Water Lily. And it is 28 count. And I like the fact that it's 28 count because these are small pillows. And if my count was any smaller, the pillow would be a postage stamp. So I wanted to do these on 28 count. I like little smalls on 28 count because they're big enough to make pillows out of. So I started and finished May Luck Find You. Even put the buttons on it. I had the button pack for it. And so I am tickled to death. That was 328 stitches, and I did that in an evening. So that was really, really good. So enjoyed that a lot. Then this morning before we left, we were able to sleep in if we wanted to and take our time. We had some straightening and, organizing to do as far as putting everybody's stash back together. I actually have a picture of the car that Donna and I rode up in, her car, and I've just got a picture of the back of the car showing you how fully packed it was because we took finishing fabrics, we took everything you can think of, batting, iron-on interfacing, stabilizer, depending on what all we wanted to work on. We had fabrics, finishing fabrics, we had trims, we had a mat board cutter and mat board to cut boards for flat folds and ornament finishes, that were on flats. We took everything that you could possibly think you might need for finishing, all the glues, everything. And so it was firmly packed, and I'll insert that picture here for you. Yeah, well, we were going to consider taking a sewing machine or something like that with us, but we didn't have room for it. I would not have been able to sit in the car had we put one more thing in that car. And Harley had to sit in my lap. So when you see the video of our finishes for the weekend, Harley is in the video, because I had several people ask me if they could see Donna's dog. My friend Donna has a dog named Harley. He's a Morkie, which is a Maltese Yorkie mix, and he weighs 10 pounds. He is a little tiny thing, and I got to love on him all weekend, and I loved it. In fact, anybody who sat down got to love on Harley, because if you sit down, the lap you create is obviously meant to be his. He loves people. So this morning, while we were organizing, we packed, we did laundry, we did things like that. And so while all of that was working its way through, as you finished what you needed to do, you could sit down and stitch and do whatever you wanted to do. So I pulled out a tomato, and I put 509 stitches in this thing. I'm so delighted. I had stopped at the end of this line last time I worked on it. So now I have "You Look So Fine," and there's the little pin cushions there, or actually they're supposed to be real tomatoes, I think. And I've got that band as well. So I'm excited. I actually made pretty good progress on this to get 509 stitches in it today. And it met a prompt as well. I forgot to mention to you that my May Luck Find You met a prompt, because I had to stitch in green or purple stitches for so many stitches, and I did way more than I needed, because that entire thing minus 70 stitches was either green or purple. There were only 70 stitches of another color that wasn't green or purple. And so that hit that prompt really well. And for O Tomato, I was able to use it as well for a prompt. And the prompt itself escapes my memory at this moment, but I do remember. Less than a year old. There you go. You had to stitch on something that was less than a year old. And this was my New Year, New Start with my friend Donna. We started this, she and I and our friend Mary started this piece for our New Year, New Start. In fact, Donna and I started it at a minute past midnight. I think Mary started it later that day. But anyway, so that's where I'm at on my O Tomato. So there you go. I've had a finish. I had a start and finish. And then I will show you my fully finished objects in the morning. I had to put my private bingo game on hold, because I couldn't take any of the pieces I had left to stitch on, depending on when they got called, because they were larger projects on roller frames. And Donna, you could, when you saw the picture, we didn't have room. We had no room for them. So they didn't go with me. So fortunately, we have five days usually at the end of the month. I think we have until the end of the month, but which would this time be through the 29th, to finish it up. So I think I have 3 to finish, to stitch on. I do. So the first one that was called on the 23rd was Nativity. I have to do these in this order. The second one that was called was Hawk Run Hollow. And the last one called was Haunted Mansion. So I will try to get at least one of those done tomorrow if I can, to start catching that up. So there you have it. It was a beautiful, beautiful place to stitch. The view was gorgeous, and the company was exquisite. So it was a lot of fun. My husband had planned to go hiking and test out a new tent, and so we had taken Coco to Fred's, and my husband just didn't feel up to it. He's getting over strep throat. It's been 2 weeks, He's been on an antibiotic. He took all the antibiotic and he just has not felt great. And today he started feeling better for the first time. And so I'm hoping that he is really on the mend now. And but I do think he said he felt pretty tired and weary, just not well over the last couple of days since I've been gone. And so it was a relief to him that Coco was at Fred's while I was gone, because he didn't have to, get up with her early. He could sleep. He didn't have to walk her and play with her till bedtime every night. So he did get some rest, and I think that was very good for him. I'm really happy that that worked out. But he picked Coco up from Fred's today, and then he sent me a picture of her looking out the window, and his title under the picture was, "Where are you, Mom?" It was so sweet. I was on my way home, and when I got home, she was really happy to see me. So I'm going to head downstairs to bed. I am going to go cuddle with my little puppy, and I will catch back up with you tomorrow. So in the meantime, for you, happy stitching. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina. Today is February the 26th. It is Monday, and I am here to show you the things that I fully finished on my stitching weekend, and then I can get busy stitching today to try to catch up on my bingo game and some of my prompts. I also got the Whip Go calls yesterday, and I can tell you what my calls are. So I'll go ahead and do that now. The numbers that were called were 10 and 1, and my number 10 is June Wordplay, which will be a new start for me. And then number 1 is Hawk Run Hollow, and I get to put 300 stitches in each of those to meet my Whip Go goals, which is wonderful. So I also went and checked Whip Go when I went to put my calls, see what my calls were, and the May Luck Find You that I started and finished over the weekend was on my Whip Go board. So I have already colored it in. It's another one that finished. I put the date that I finished it there so I would have it for reference in the future. But that is one I have already taken care of. So my Whip Go board is filling up a little early, which is great. That's fun. So let me show you what all I worked on our finishing weekend. I won't do them in the order that I finished them. I'll actually just do them in the order that I come to them, so that because they're stacked up here. But in total, I finished 7 items over the weekend. 4 pillows, 2 flat folds, and I made a special project bag, and I want to tell you about that. So let's start with that one. It was the first one I did, so that one will actually start it in order. So I want to share that with you. Isn't that beautiful fabric? In 2020, I stitched a project that was, oh, hey, Coco. Sorry, she's missed me. In 2020, I stitched a project called Friends, and it was from Verbena on Facebook. I had joined her Facebook group, and it was one of her freebie patterns at that point. And she was, had put out a few freebies to help us through our pandemic. And I thought, oh, how wonderful. Stitching Friends are the best, So I stitched the project. And I've been hanging on to it since 2020, thinking that I would really like to make a project bag. And I wanted to make the project bag so that I could put things in it, perhaps, that I was gift stitching for other stitchy friends. That was kind of the idea of why I wanted this one into a bag. Well, I couldn't figure out on my own, because I'm not a very experienced quilter. I've only made about 3 quilts in my lifetime. I decided I just didn't want to mess it up. I really didn't want to mess it up. So I just kept thinking and wondering, how I was going to do it. So one of the ladies I was with this weekend, I knew was a very accomplished quilter. So before we left to go on our weekend, I asked her if she would be willing to help me make a project bag, putting my cross stitch in the center of the front panel of the bag, like an inset, you know. And she said, yes, of course we can do that. So I went to the Joann's and I picked out fabric that I thought complemented the piece, and we made a project bag. I'm so happy with it. I'm so very happy with it. Sue, thank you so much. Sue helped me calculate and calculate and calculate. There's a lot of math in this. And we stitched this bag up together. And then my friend Lisa, who was hosting us this weekend, made me a wonderful zipper pull. I mean, it's one of the prettiest ones I've ever seen. It's got a bobbin on the end of it, and it's got the year 2024 and made with love on the little heart. Beautiful charms. Now, the sweet story is, not only did Lisa spend time making this for me, but some of these beads right here in the middle, those purple beads and those two glassy pink beads, they were in a big container of beads that I took to Lisa as a hostess gift because I knew she was into making beaded items, and they came out of that box of beads. So she took some of the beads that I brought her and used them to make my zipper pull, which I thought was really special. Anyway, the inside of the bag is the polka dot, the purple polka dot, and as you see, I've already got a pattern in there. So, this was my very first FFO. Now, I've made an envelope project bag before, but I've never made one with the zipper before. And so that was a first. Plus, I had never made one where I put my cross stitch in the middle. But I love it, and I think it really turned out well. And I have a picture of Sue and I'll insert that here, where we're celebrating the finish of my project bag. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to do over the weekend was turn a couple of my projects into flat folds. So before I left town, I went back and watched Vanna's tutorial. Thank you again, Vanna. It was fabulous. And I took notes, and I took my fabrics with me and said, okay, I'm ready. So when I got to the finishing weekend, my friend Donna had her mat cutter, and we cut some mat boards, and I was able to make 2 of my flat folds. Now, I wanted to put trim around this one, and I couldn't get it to fit the trim that I had. So I am going to add a trim around the front of this flat fold, I think. I was letting it kind of sit to see what I thought, but here it is. The first pattern of this was stitched for me and mailed to me as a gift. And so I had this one and I stitched it myself. But the person who stitched for me stitched on 40 count, and I don't. So this one's on 32 count, but it's absolutely beautiful, and I backed it with this. That's a sparkly gold thread, but that red and black plaid, I felt like, went with the front. Just really, really pretty. So that's that flat fold. And then the second one you may recognize because it hadn't been that long ago that I finished it. Isn't that fun? And then the back on that one and the middle, they're all the same because I had a lot of that fabric and I felt like it matched perfectly. And then I put these little tiny miniature pom-poms on here all the way around. Isn't that cool? So that one is completely done, including a little trim. But I'd like to do something similar to this, I think, around this one. But until I do, it still looks great the way it is. So those were my 2 flat folds. I think there were a couple of ladies there who might have liked to have learned to make one, and I was going to share all my notes and with them, but we had so many people finishing so many different things that it really wasn't conducive. And I didn't want to compete with trying to talk to someone and show them something while Sue was teaching people how to do project bags, because she worked with 3 different ones of us to help us do that. So I think that was much more important for us to get that done. And then you may recall this little tiny piece that I stitched a while back. It says, "In the meadow we can build a," and then you've got a little snowman right here. And I put this beautiful blue snowflake, sparkly with a little purple in it and green in it, because this little snowman has blue, purple, and green in it, and I thought that just was a pretty little accent for that. And then Easter's coming, so I pulled out my egg piece that I had stitched, and I finished it off. And then one of the ladies there, both Kristen and Lisa had this, but Kristen brought hers to share. They had a bundle of trim, and this was in it. It was a whole bundle of different colors of trims and things like this, rick-rack, ribbon, and they were all in 1-yard pieces, and they had gotten them at, she said, Michael's back in October. So anyway, I thought this was the perfect color, and I liked how lacy it looked, and because in Easter time you have usually you wear your Easter clothes, if you go to church with your new Easter dress or whatever. And I just felt like that was reminiscent of my childhood, when my mother would have pretty ribbons and bows on my clothes and things like that. But so there's my latest Easter. I'll be putting this out pretty soon, right after I put out my March stuff, so for St. Patty's Day. And we just finished Valentine's Day, but this is one I had stitched for Valentine's Day. I wanted to put it in my little dough bowl kind of thing, and look at that precious back fabric. It's the perfect color for that floss in there, and I just thought that is so sweet. So I did Valentine's Day, and to go with it, I did this one. Since this one was a long pillow, I kind of made this one long so I could put them on my mantle, one on each end. So to make this one long, since it was a small one that just said love, I put fabric on this end. I put a beautiful ribbon. That was someone's ribbon that they brought with them, and I thought that was just precious. So I put that on there before I stitched my pillow together, and then I backed it, just with that continued fabric. So there you go. Those are my Valentine's Day pillows together. So those are the 4 pillows that I finished, stuffed and stitched up for our finishing weekend. So there are my FFOs. So then on the way home, Donna and I were riding home, and I got on Facebook to kind of see what the new challenge was in our Daily 30 group, and to kind of see what's going on. And they have a finishing challenge this weekend. This weekend we just finished, and it goes through midnight tonight. And Donna and I looked at each other, and I said, doggone it, I wish I'd known that. I had all these finishes, and I could have gotten points for every one of them had I known. And she got finishes, and she could have done the same thing. So I will tell you, there is one pillow I didn't get to make because I found this perfect trim, and then we misplaced it, and I don't know where it is. We still don't know where it is. But I didn't want to make it and not have what I wanted with it. So I think today I'm running to lunch with some girlfriends from church, and I think I'm gonna swing by a Hobby Lobby or Joann's and look for that trim something similar that I could use for it. And if so, I will make that final pillow today to get my points in the Facebook group. Anyway, I think it was great fun. I will tell you, I had a blast. You've already seen the stitching that I got done. I got a lot of stitching done. Of course, you know, we were up late. We stitched till one night till 2 in the morning. One night we stitched till 1:30 in the morning. Now, the first night, I was exhausted. I think I had gotten so excited about going, and I had spent time planning and pulling out fabrics, all these fabrics and things, that I went to sleep at 11:30. I mean, I went to bed and went to sleep at 11:30. That's terrible. Donna did too, but the other two ladies that were there at that time, they stayed up. They stayed up till, goodness, I think 1:30 that night. So we had lots of hours to stitch because we were stitching into the wee hours of the morning because it was like a stitching retreat. We were so excited to be there. So I think that kind of brings you completely up to date on my weekend, on my stitching over the weekend, and on my FFOs. That's more FFOs than I normally do in a year. It was fabulous. So anyway, great fun, great fun. I highly encourage you to do that if you have the opportunity to gather at one of your homes for a weekend of finishing, sharing all of your fabrics, all of your, I took a huge box of fiberfill, for the pillows, and everybody made pillows, and we all used that fiberfill, and we only used half of what I brought. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. But it was so fun. It was so fun to go through each other's fabrics and trims and say, this would be perfect on mine. And we were tickled to death when somebody chose something out of our stash, that they wanted to use. It wasn't ooh, I hope they don't take anything. It was, I'm so excited they found something. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So I'm going to let you get back to what you were doing. Thanks for letting me wax on about my exciting weekend. And I'm going to get busy stitching. And hopefully this afternoon or evening, I can come back and share with you some stitching that I've accomplished today. Okay, here are the fully finished objects that all of us did this weekend at the lake house. This is I Am a Needlesmith by the Bay. And it is a project bag. Let me open it. There's the inside. So pretty. So this is a way you can use some of your cross stitch for a unique finish, is make it into a project bag. It helps if you have a friend that's a quilter. Pillows, framing, and this beautiful box has stitching on top and a lining inside. So that was fully finished this weekend. All right, here we have some Christmas ornaments, some for schoolers. Those beautiful, beautiful bows. And Sue even tried out a new bow maker that was from Chantel. To make these bows. Look how beautiful they are. And then we have Kristen's pillows. Look at that precious Valentine's pillow. Different trims, different embellishments. We all brought whatever we had and all went in a big room. We used it all together. The whole house? We not the whole house, is more like it. Really? Here's the project bag I made. And Lisa made me the zipper pull to go on it. And then I have 4 pillows. There's an Easter pillow. one for my anniversary, one for Valentine's Day, a couple of Christmas. There's a pillow and flat fold. This made 2 pillows. So altogether, we have 24 fully finished objects from this weekend. Woohoo! I think that is a reason to celebrate. And this one is not a fully finished object from this weekend, but he's been our mascot. This is my friend Donna's puppy dog, Harley. And a bunch of you have asked to see Harley, so here he is. Hi, Harley. He's wagging his tail, but he won't jump up. Donna's trying to get him to jump up. He just will not do it.
Yeah, he's been jumping all weekend.
He's been jumping all weekend, that's true. Well, good afternoon. I wanted to come back and share with you the stitching that I got done this afternoon, because I'm not sure how much more I'll get done tonight. However, I do have a Zoom call tonight and I will be stitching. So maybe I'll have one more thing to show you this evening. But in case I didn't have enough progress to share, I wanted to go ahead and tell you about this one. This was for my private bingo group. It was the call for the 23rd of February and I was gone. And I didn't take this one with me. So this is Nativity. And I put in 106 stitches. I had to have 100, and I'll show you what little bit of progress that put on this piece. I'm doing these in little tiny bites, but what I did is I came down here and I extended his cloak on down here with one color, and then I came to the sleeve because I'm working my way over to the hands that I got to do 1 over 1, and I started working on the folds in that sleeve. So I got quite a bit of work done on that sleeve today. So between those two areas, I got 106 stitches. And now the next piece that I need to work on for my bingo game is for the 24th, and it's the next to last day of the bingo, and it's Hawk Run Hollow. And that'll be a good one to stitch on today and tonight for my group. So that'll be fun. So that'll be what I do next, I'm thinking. The last one, the very last call for the bingo was for the 25th, and that was my Haunted Mansion. And I think I'm going to wait and work on that tomorrow. I have a kind of an event tomorrow that I'm not looking forward to. I have a crown that I have to have replaced by the dentist. So I'm doing that at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know whether or not I'll be able to get a lot of stitching done tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to feel. Hopefully fine. I hope I don't have any residual, soreness or pain or anything like that. However, if I am numbed and if I'm, doing like this, I probably won't get on camera. So it may be the next day before I share with you what I've been stitching. Okay, I'm going to let you get back to what you were doing, and I'm going to go on to my next project. Happy stitching, everybody.
It's our turn. Okay, here we go. Oh, no. roll the windows down because you bark so loud. Oh, no. Stay over there. Stay over there. There's a bump. Alright. Tell him you're here. Let him know you're here. That's loud. Let him know you're here. Where's Fred?